As Trump ignores deepening coronavirus crisis, Biden calls for urgent response. Joe Biden has spent these early days as president-elect pleading with Americans to pay attention to the relentless surge of COVID-19, with deaths averaging more than 1,000 a day in the past week, as President Donald Trump continues to ignore the deepening crisis and touts the promises of yet-to-be-approved vaccines as his panacea. The continuing power struggles between two men with diametrically different philosophies on how the US should handle the virus has left the nation rudderless at this critical moment, forced by Trump into a governing crisis as he refuses to let the transition to the Biden presidency proceed and pass on knowledge that could be critical to slowing the spread of the virus next year. This past week, some Republicans in Congress finally seemed to take note of how the president's blockade was threatening national security, as Republicans sense. James Lankford of Oklahoma, Chuck Grassley of Iowa, and Senate Majority Whip John Thune of South Dakota, among others, stepped up to say that the president-elect should begin receiving intelligence briefings as is customary during the transition of power. But there is no indication that top GOP leaders are applying the same logic to the deadly increase in coronavirus cases, even though the number of patients in US hospitals hit an all-time pandemic high last week, according to data from the COVID Tracking Project. As of Saturday, more than 69,000 Americans were hospitalized, according to the organization's tallies. The president is still adhering to the same hands-off approach that led to so many voters to reject his leadership on election day, inaccurately stating that the increase in cases is the result of increased testing as he tries to focus public attention on his administration's efforts to speed up a vaccine through Operation Warp Speed. Trump for the first time Sunday morning acknowledged Biden's election victory, tweeting he won because the election was rigged, before continuing to blame his loss on baseless and debunk conspiracy theories about the election. In another tweet shortly after, he stood by his false belief that he may be able to win the election, saying, "I concede nothing. We have a long way to go." The president spent most of Saturday coughing and tweeting similar false conspiracy theories and driving by a crowd of his supporters who gathered in Washington to protest the election results on the basis of his lies and propaganda. He barely addressed the virus on Twitter Saturday, tweeting, "Congress must now do a COVID relief bill. Needs Democrat support. Make it big and focused. Get it done." Amid that leadership vacuum, many doctors and top medical experts are bracing for even greater holiday spikes, nothing that Americans have simply let their guards down and given into the desire to return to normal life. The president unquestionably played a role in those attitudes as the administration abandoned its coronavirus task force briefing months ago, and he tried to win re-election by advancing the falsehood that the US was rounding the corner.